To begin our repair, we must first remove the power from our shade. In this case, we will disconnect it from the battery wand. Next, we must identify the side that our PowerView motor is on. Here it's on the right side. In order to access the motor, we have to carefully remove the end cap. To do this, we will use a flat blade screwdriver and gently rock it back and forth until we have successfully removed the cap. We'll then put this aside to use during reassembly. We've located the two motor mounting screws next to each other here. These keep the motor attached to the end plate. To remove these screws, we will need a number 1 or smaller Phillips screwdriver. Begin removing them slowly and take care to not misplace or lose them. These screws are very small and easy to lose, but required during the reassembly process. Once the screws are removed, take a flat blade screwdriver and press the motor release near the back. In order to release the motor, you must press down on the tube while releasing the lock. After it's disengaged, you can pull up and remove the tube from its mount. And note, at this point, if the motor wants to turn on its own, there's a spring assist inside the tube, and you must stop to avoid damaging the internal components. On the opposite end of the shade, we need to disengage the tube from the other end plate. When we do this, we need to make sure to save the spring and collar to use during reassembly as well. It's now time to remove the motor assembly from the roller tube, and it's best done with the small flat blade screwdriver. We will gently pry the motor out from the collar around the tube. When it's free, we can then continue pulling the motor out until it's completely removed from the tube. At this point, we need to make sure to not lose the collar here, as it's critical to reinstalling your new motor. Now it's time to begin the reassembly process, starting with the new motor. There are slots on the motor drive that align it with metal grooves inside of the tube. We'll make sure these are aligned during the insertion process. There should be very little pressure required to reinsert the new motor in the tube. We'll press it firmly until seated on the collar. In cases where your shade was not fully raised during the disassembly process, we need to roll it up as tightly as possible at this point. Once this is done, we need to reset the upper limit. To do this, we'll need to remove the limit components by sliding them out of the tube. You will notice two different limit mechanisms. The clear plastic bottom limit and cotter pin here should not be adjusted. We'll concentrate on the upper limit, which is at the end of the shaft. Turn the limit clockwise until it cannot turn anymore. Once we've done this, we'll then back it off about 1/4 of a turn. And with the shade in the fully rolled up position, it's time to align the grooves in the limit and outer collar and begin reinserting the assembly into the tube. We'll do this gently, and when it's completely seated, we'll press it firmly into place. Now that the limit has been reinstalled, it's time to finish assembling the idle side. We'll find the collar and spring and assemble them in this manner, and then reinsert them into the tube. The spring should have some pressure. We'll grab the cassette and insert the idle end first. Make sure it's completely seated into the end plate post like this. Then we'll move to the motor side. And first, we'll make sure that the power cable is not pinched at the mounting point. Once we've done this, we need to make sure, if the motor head does not align with our bracket, to take care and not try to rotate the motor to make it fit. We will unroll the shade as it sits in the idle end until the motor aligns. And once we've done this, we'll press down until the motor clicks into place. It's time to now retrieve our motor mounting screws and begin to secure them in place. This step may require you to adjust the tube slightly to align the holes. We'll secure the screws using a number 1 or smaller Phillips screwdriver. Whatever you do, don't use a power drill. And to finish off our reassembly, we need to replace the plastic end cap. We'll press it firmly or tap gently with a small rubber mallet until it's completely seated. And it's now time to reapply our power. We'll hang the shade and perform a 6-second recalibration. And finally, you'll need to use the remote to reset the upper and lower electronic limits. We'll refer to the installation instructions on exactly how to do this.